everybody. I'm ABI Standish, and I'm the marketing and communications coordinator at a place called Cinema for All. But before I got anywhere near a job, I thought I'd just take you on the journey. Doesn't start, but don't worry. So a bit about my background, plot twist, I always loved film, shocker. And then I studied film and television at Leeds Trinity University, and then graduated. I loved it here. Felt a little bit emotional as I arrived here today. And then I thought, what should I do after graduation? I had a lot of ideas. When I was here, I liked that the course I did was a mixture of theory and analysis as well as production. So I was getting a taste of both and thinking, what do I enjoy more? And I always thought it would be production. I always thought, wow, this magic that goes on the screen, I want to be part of that. I want to help make that. But then again, for a long time, I thought, how do you know what jobs there even is, except like the classic, what you see in the credits, director, producer. And I think that's a hurdle to find out about all these different types of jobs and roles you'll never think there was. So I started doing various workplace internships in different roles. Should I do a swap? Seamless. So I did a little bit when you guys still do work placement here on your course. They're really, really handy, and if you can take a part, I know that they're very kind here and do try and set you up with places. If you can do some research about where might look good for you or what you might want to get into, and have a look at what's out there, because you wouldn't believe where production companies are. One that I went to is called Chameleon TV, which is literally in Horsforth Town Centre, and they basically come up with content for shows like Panorama, and then they sell these shows to different broadcasts, basically, and pitch the stories. So it was really interesting to work there. I mean, I was making teas, archiving DVDs, nothing that special, but one of the best things that I got to do during that week was to submit a bunch of show ideas, which I never even thought I'd even get near or have a go at, but I kind of always think of shows. So I did a few of those, and they actually liked a couple of those. And that was just really thinking, so maybe there's a bit of leverage there. During that time, and then I also kind of left, graduated, was just working at Cineworld, cashing in on those free movies. Felt good because it was still kind of the industry. And any time we ever had, it was in Castleford, by the way. It's not getting anything special here. But one time there was this horror film that came, and it was set in Pontefract, which is where I'm actually from. Again, where Licorice was from, and not much else. And the distribution company were there to present it because Castleford love horror films. So I just made it my port of call. I just said to the manager, I'll take care of this screening. I'll bring them in, whatever. And they didn't really want to have anything to do with it at all. So I took it on, wearing my little blue Cineworld cap, and then I just kind of asked them about what they did, and then I found out about film distribution. Again, didn't really know that was a thing that you could work in. So then I eventually got a placement with them in London. So I did a couple of weeks there. That was really interesting. And then I applied to do an internship at Warp Films, who do This Is England, Dead Man's Shoes, all the gritty, really good stuff. And I emailed them and just said, I love you. What can I do? I'll do anything. And I've been doing this. I've been volunteering at Leeds Film Festival, and anything that I could think of that I thought might be relevant. And it wasn't until about 4 months later I got an email back saying, hi, we got your email. And I was like, oh, good. I've been feeling really crap. This was like my inside monologue. And then they invited me for an interview, and I started to work there on a placement. So if you are thinking about doing something like that, email everybody as soon as possible, because it might not be a few months later till you actually get a reply. I chose that picture of Kenneth from 30 Rock, because that's kind of what it feels like when you're running around, making sure you get the M&S salad that someone prefers. But it's really important that you make that step. Then I started to work freelance in film production as a runner, as a casting assistant, as a third assistant director. Again, all these roles I'd never really thought of except runner, which is what you just think, what's the lowest of the low? Where did the bottom feeders go? I'll just do that for 20 years. And then I was like, so you can be a casting assistant. That's cool. And again, these opportunities came round after I finished my internship at Warp, and occasionally they'd call me back because I'd made some sort of impression. And get to do like 2 days work here, a week's work there. And and the casting assistant director job was on This Is England, so that was really exciting. And I got to meet the director and stuff, and it's more just that you get to be observational and see what's happening. Really, you're just there to kind of be there on hand for anything that they might need. I also found a very small production company. I actually teach, they run acting courses, but they also make their own films, called Rossi Pictures. They're also based in Leeds. And I just liked their attitude, really, because they wanted to get into filmmaking, and they were making short films. I thought, great, some more experience. And then that film got submitted into Cannes Film Festival. All just sounds really good with your CV. I think pretty much anyone can submit a short film to Cannes Film Festival. But this one got in. So that looks pretty snazzy. So I took that with me. And then, so after a while, I kind of left Cineworld. I thought, yeah, let's do freelance. Yeah, I can do this. It's because I got a few days work here, a couple of weeks there, and it was going okay. But I was also working in a cafe as a waitress just to pay them bills. So by day, I was waitressing, serving, cleaning in a cafe. And by night, I was trying to get a job in the movie biz. So it was a bit like a double life. Not very glamorous on either side. And then in the meantime, I was kind of getting a little frustrated. Freelance was good. I liked it, but you kind of always having to prove yourself from the very beginning. And companies have CVs piled higher than I am tall. So you kind of feel a bit disposable. So in the meantime, I found out there was this community cinema in Leeds that were looking for a baker to bake cakes to theme with their film, and I was really into baking because I had a lot of free time, free time. And I went there and I thought, oh, can I do more? Can I help out? And then I got to do programming. We did short films, feature films. So it's like cult classics, independent, foreign language cinema, and it's this tiny 26-seater in Armley Mills Industrial Museum. So before you get to the cinema, you walk past like cotton machinery and things like that. It was just really exciting because this was the first time I thought, oh, I'm saying yes to myself. I'm not waiting for someone to say yes to me, because I think sometimes film or creative industries in general can feel like this secluded island, and you're just floating around in a dinghy waiting to get on the island and someone lets you climb aboard. So in the meantime, while I was waiting for that, this felt like I could have access to things I wanted to try out, trying out marketing, programming, everything really that goes into running film screenings. And we won Film Society of the Year in 2015, which was really cool. And that made me learn about an organization called Cinema for All. So Cinema for All is the national organization for the support and development of community cinema exhibition in the UK. Again, did not know that was a thing. Basically, there's thousands and thousands of groups creating screenings, whether it's something massive like Secret Cinema, if you've ever heard of them, who run these massive, lavish, incredible screenings. But that kind of kicked it all off a little bit more. But it could be anything from someone who's been running a film society in their village hall for 80 years, or someone who's doing a pop-up and screening American Psycho and covering their entire venue with newspaper. Very effective. And I thought, oh, great, this sounds brilliant. And they just asked me to volunteer one day because they knew me through running Mini-Cine. And then I thought, yeah, this sounds good. So I just helped them with their, they run an annual conference every year for community cinemas all across the UK to come together. It's workshops, it's screenings, Q&As, things like that. It was really exciting. And then in the evening, they have the awards. And I thought, oh, I really like being part of this great team. That's really good. So just at this time, I was evaluating what I wanted to do a bit more, because whilst I was volunteering there, I was also a runner on This Is England 90. So I thought, oh, this is the closest I've kind of got to maybe where I want to go. So I was getting used to working in an office as well, doing this alongside it. But part of what I liked is I enjoyed that it was about the audience and about cinema experience. And I thought, oh, I think this makes me feel closer to my love of film. So I just thought, oh, this is really, really good. And I also went home feeling happy. And I thought, that's a good feeling. So you can do that. And I thought, maybe this is what I want to do, even though I feel so lucky to be stood on the set of This Is England 90, helping out a show that I really love, working with really great people, it was fantastic. But I still kind of felt like I was still at the very, very beginning. I just didn't feel like I was covering any ground. And that wasn't really particularly for a role title or anything like that, but just what you get to do in the day-to-day. And although it was really fun, I felt like I got to put more of myself and learn more and have a lot more autonomy in the job at Cinema for All. So I volunteered there for a year, and then eventually I found a job as an audience development assistant at the Showroom Cinema, which is an independent cinema in Sheffield. So I was working in the programming department. I got to program a couple of seasons there, learning how to connect audiences with different films, doing a lot of outreach work, doing Q&As, just a whole host of things that I really, really enjoyed. And I thought, I think cinema exhibition is more my field, and I just didn't know there was any roles in it or what it involved. It's a bit like when I was at school. Yeah, Hovis advert music. There was no like media or film or anything, but like for one lesson, there was a media lesson, and we watched The Elephant Man. We had to write something about it, and I just loved it. And my teacher at the time was like, you should think about doing media studies. I'm like, what is media studies? What, they let you study media? And again, I just felt like that kept coming up as I went along, like, there's these roles, and you can do this, that, and the other. So that's how I ended up here. So I ended up working as an audience development assistant part-time at the Showroom Cinema, and then I was still volunteering at Cinema for All, keeping my connections there, because I really did enjoy it. And then there was a part-time role offered to me there as an events coordinator. And then eventually the full-time role opened up only actually October last year. So now I work full-time as a marketing and communications coordinator there. And that involves marketing everything we do, the events that we do. We run workshops, we go across the country, informing people how to set up their own cinema screenings, a whole host of things, really. We have a booking scheme where people can book their films to screen in their cinemas. So that's really cool. So it's still like a bit like distribution. So it's just a whole host of a great mixture, really, of lots of different things, and I think that's what I really like about it. We're a very, very small team because it's a charity, so the team isn't huge. So I'm the only one technically in my department, so I get to figure things out along how I think it might work, have a lot of space for innovation, loads of space for ideas to grow, and that's just why I've stuck around there. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.